The tropical wave in the Atlantic now with a high chance of development. There's another potential area to watch and some impactful weather to discuss as well. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We are your home for Caribbean weather. It's fantastic to see you on this Sunday. I hope you're doing well. So much to get into in this video. The first thing we'll do is look at the newest information on our disturbance in the Atlantic with a high chance of development. We've had some really impactful, strong and severe storms across our region. I want to highlight that. Then we'll deep dive into the potential for tropical development with this area and another area I'll be monitoring over the week as well. Let's get started. Meteo Mundo, sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida. They are your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews to get storm damage of any kind. You go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Now, as always, love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments section below what's been happening. So many of you have commented in the last couple of videos about how active weather has been in your area. Let me know how it's going. You have a specific question about the forecast as we move along in the video. Let me know in the comments section below. So again, we'll start off with our tropical disturbance. As of this recording, it's not a tropical wave as of yet. It's still a very broad, disorganized area of showers and storms, but as it looks to consolidate itself and shrink and really have some deep convection near that broader center of circulation in the next 48 hours, expecting us to more than likely get a tropical depression here as we get into early for the next week ahead. This is what it looks like on visible satellite imagery. Of course, we lose it a little bit earlier this time of the year, but just to show you again, there's not a lot of deeper convection here near the center, but we continue to have some good thunderstorm activity around a broader area here, and this again is likely to kind of get a little bit more centralized over the next 2 to 3 days. And as we get into this area, that's where we're going to have a higher chance of development. Hurricane Center has it now as a 70% chance of development. Again, because it's not an invest yet, which is just short for investigation, we don't have our tropical models running as of yet. But obviously, as we get deeper into this video, I'm going to have a lot more on the models and what that area could ultimately become as we go through the week ahead. But now I want to turn our attention to the extremely active and impactful weather we've had across the area today and really over the weekend as well. We'll start off with the Windward Islands. We've had some really nasty storms over portions of Trinidad, especially a couple of scattered showers over Tobago, Grenada, Nueva Esparta, but right over Trinidad earlier the day, some really prolific thunderstorm activity. This moisture-laden air just sat right over the area. We had waves of showers and storms and some flooding rains from time to time. No alert level right now. We had one earlier in the day, but that has been discontinued. Have some video at the Sangre Grande area of Trinidad from Jacoby Jarvis there, and you can just see it coming down. You can see the lightning strike. You can see the heavy rain, the gusty winds. Again, just an impactful thunderstorm there over portions of Trinidad, which led to some localized flooding in a couple of spots. You live on Trinidad, you've been impacted by the weather today. Let me know in the comments section below. Again, it's been a pretty common thing. We've had a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity with some really strong winds as well. Now, late in the day, we go live to Corinth, St. Lucia. As you guys know, we have our live cameras here at Meteo Mundo across the Caribbean to help tell your weather story. So you look at what happened earlier today in Trinidad, then you look at this late afternoon this Sunday in Corinth, St. Lucia, and it is a vast difference there. A little bit farther north in the island chains, things have been much quieter. Same thing for the Grenadines, St. Vincent, Barbados. Then you kind of have this little break here, right? Then you get to a few more thunderstorms today for Martinique and Dominica, the southern sides of Guadeloupe. Again, passing showers and storms, not the entire island, but we've had some impactful storms across the area as well. And from time to time, we picked up some wind gusts. These are wind gusts in miles an hour. So about a 25-mile-an-hour wind gust in Martinique, 20 there in Dominica. Scattered showers over portions of the Leeward Islands as well. Guadeloupe up towards Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda. It's a quiet afternoon across this area at this point in time. Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, many dry hours and locations, but we continue to see some moisture-laden air. You can clearly see that just off of the eastern side of the islands right now, there are additional showers and storms that are building. There still is a very active axis of tropical moisture, which extends all the way from the eastern side of Turks and Caicos all the way back down through the eastern Caribbean. So we're going to continue to get waves of showers and storms developing. And this is, again, what happened earlier from St. Kitts and Nevis. So we've had breaks in the action, but the real king brings you a healthy thunderstorm over St. Kitts and Nevis. Nevis today again earlier. Just storms racing across the area. Again, fast moving, not all day, not complete washouts, but got to watch out for some of the lightning and some of the heavier downpours there as well. Appreciate the Real King sitting in that video from St. Kitts and Nevis. Not a bad afternoon in the Virgin Islands. Breezy conditions again, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, up towards Jos Van Dyke and Tortola and Anegada, 20 to 25 mile an hour breezes. Thunderstorms are breaking out over portions of Puerto Rico at the hour. Good winds with some of the thunderstorms over San Juan. And again, just another day where I expect these storms to be somewhat scattered in nature, but as they develop, they're going to be on the heavier side. Now, they've pulsed up, they've died back down a little bit. This is the live radar out of Puerto Rico right now. You can see a few showers off the coastline. We have a couple of showers inland here. We've had a couple of flood advisories in interior and western sections of Puerto Rico for today, and it's really been the case over the last several days where as these storms crop up, they're producing some locally heavy rainfall, a couple of scattered showers just south of the San Juan area, Bayamon, Guaynabo area, and again, from time to time, we'll have a 20 to 25 mile an hour wind gust, or even a little bit higher than that. Now, thunderstorms are much more prolific at the hour over portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Let me drop the radar data off here. We'll get back over to our satellite loop. We have a lot of flooding going on right now. Far eastern sides of Haiti, far western sides of the Dominican Republic in the higher terrain where we have some, adverse flooding conditions. We've had 75 to 100 millimeters or 3 to 4 inches of rain in a couple of these spots. Higher terrain getting back down to the lower areas, causing a lot of flooding in those spots. So again, higher areas into some of the valleys. We've had prolific thunderstorms today, leading to some flooding. Outside of that, we've had other spotty showers and heavier storms, and again, with some areas of flooding as well. La Romana, just north of San Pedro de Macorís, Santo Domingo, the Samana Peninsula. Thunderstorms will continue to develop there, all pushing their way off towards the west. We've had a couple of thunderstorms in the western sides of the island as well, northwest sides of Haiti across the peninsula towards Lakai. Thunderstorms are a little bit scattered in nature today, but again, they're beginning to develop over Turks and Caicos and the southeast Bahamas, especially right over the Caicos, the western islands there on over towards Anagua and Mayaguana. Good, healthy thunderstorm activity here that will try and again kind of work its way up to the north. You can clearly see that the flow here is all from the north, and the reason why is we have a broad area of mid-level low pressure and of mid-level high pressure here, and you're getting the clockwise winds coming around this right now. Now, underneath that, there is some instability, and we're starting to see some showers and storms developing there as well. But this is just kind of a broad, disturbed area right now, and this all flows into a trough along the United States East Coast, and this is something to be talking about here as we get into the next couple of days. These thunderstorms are quite active again today over Bermuda. They've had some gusty winds and some locally heavy downpours as well. So back over to the Bahamas. Again, you get this break in the central Bahamas right now, San Salvador, Rum Key, Long Island, and Exuma, but we've had some really nasty thunderstorms the last couple of days for the northern and northwest Bahamas from the Cat Island area, Eleuthera, Nassau, New Providence, where we had some really strong and severe storms, some very significant downburst winds, potentially a tornado or a water spout in portions of New Providence. If you live in New Providence and you've had that active weather over the weekend, let me know how you guys are doing in the comments section below. But we had 50 and 60 plus mile an hour winds and some damage reported across the Bahamas with these thunderstorms. And again, the whole catalyst out of this continues to be our boundary, which is draped over the islands, and it has yet to fully dissipate. It's still a focusing mechanism for thunderstorms for today. Now, Saturday, Highborn Key, Bahamas, Craig Russell sent this in, said, first of all, they had 50 knot winds. So, 55 to 60 plus mile an hour winds from time to time. Tremendous, prolific lightning and heavy downpours. Again, backlit thunderstorms here from the Highborn Key area of the Bahamas. Appreciate Craig sending in that picture to help tell the story. This is the live look. Again, it's improved conditions later on this Sunday. We go up to central Eleuthera. Again, a mix of sun and clouds, a passing shower not out of the question, but right now, a lot of blue sky there in Governor's Harbor. All right, swing back over to Cuba. We're getting some moisture streaming over to the area from southwest to northeast, allowing some thunderstorms to develop there. It's been a quieter weekend overall in Jamaica. We've had a few thunderstorms that's redeveloping again late on this Sunday, mainly in the interior hilly sections. So kind of, northern sides of St. Catherine Catherine and Clarendon and Manchester on the southern sides of St. Anne and Trelawney, just a couple of those areas that are getting a few of those thunderstorms there from time to time, and they'll meander off towards the west overall. Again, relatively quiet over the Cayman Islands, a couple of passing showers just go along with a little bit of cloud coverage here. I'm going to bring on the visible satellite imagery, again, with the infrared brought in, kind of a sandwich product as we call it, so you can kind of see some of that twist in the atmosphere that I mentioned in the last video, which is allowing thunderstorms to become much more prolific today right across the coastline of Quintana Roo, the Caribbean coastline, all the way back down towards Belize and Guatemala as well. So just developing Cancun, Cozumel, but you notice the storms aren't moving much from the coastal areas. Most of the time, we see the sea breeze march the storms west, but right now, they're pinned along the coast, so Cancun, Cozumel, the Chetumal area, San Pedro, Orange Walk, Belize City, Dangriga, San Ignacio, all with some pretty active weather here late on this Sunday. Healthy thunderstorms, cloud ground lightning is pretty prolific as well, and some gusty winds. San Pedro Sula up to a 30-mile-an-hour storm breeze there right now. We'll see some scattered showers over Utila, Roatan, and Guanaja. Again, this is an area, the Western Caribbean in general, where I expect us to see active weather for the week ahead, that monsoon trough, and at least some mid-level spin there in the northwest side of the Caribbean. Thunderstorms are prolific again today over Costa Rica and Panama, and we're enjoying just another beautiful afternoon in the ABC Islands. Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, sun-splashed, sun-soaked late Sunday afternoon. Live look outside to the Ronestad area of Aruba, and again, sun glistening off the coastal waters. What a beautiful shot there from the Costa Linda Beach Resort. Okay, so as we get into the forecast, friends, again, really appreciate you guys joining that Meteo Mundo weather community. First of all, take a second, hit the like button, but come on and join us. Hit that subscribe button right now. You want these latest daily forecasts and the tropical updates, you found your home. Again, appreciate the one thing I'm asking everyone to do is to share this channel with one person. Let them know about the channel, even if they watch other YouTube weather content. Maybe they will see something that we do here, they'll like it, and they will also become consistent viewers like you guys are as well. Appreciate all of my friends at the channel. So now, I'm going to hit the right button, and then we're going to deep dive into what's going to be happening with this. Again, nothing imminent out of this. There's another area I want to highlight as well. When we look at the Hurricane Center's chance of development, again, this is not a track, but it is kind of a first blush look at where the Hurricane Center feels that this might be going. Once we get an invest, we'll get the tropical models to run. Right now, we can look at all the global models. And again, anything that you're seeing out here has nothing to do with that disturbance. That being said, the far southwest extent of where the Hurricane Center feels development could occur gets close to the Leeward Islands, but certainly your bullseye and center line is well away. And the more than likely scenario here as we go through the week is that hopefully we'll see this system, even if it develops, and will likely develop and likely become Gabrielle, the seventh named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, that the recurve before the Eastern Caribbean is the highest probability at this point in time. I'll show you some of the global models coming up. The second area I want to highlight will be off of the United States East Coast. We have this trough line. We have an upper level low kind of meandering around a mid-level to a low-level low off of the Virginia and the North Carolina coastline, and the combination of that just kind of sitting off of the Gulf Stream waters could aid in some development with that system over the week ahead. To be clear, the Hurricane Center hasn't highlighted it as of yet, but it is an area that I see in the models and something that I want to talk about for you guys coming up as well. All right, so let's get into the models. We'll start off with our GFS. This is going to be our, well, first of all here, okay, that's good. This is going to be your GFS deterministic model, right? This is going to be your reflectivity. So very broad, sloppy, disorganized disturbance at least through Tuesday. Beginning on Wednesday, consolidation begins to occur, and it does look like conditions will become more favorable. We're still fighting some drier air. We're still fighting some shear, but those conditions will lessen. And again, it's very unusual for a wave to be fighting drier air and shear this deep into the Atlantic basin this time of the year, but that's exactly what's happening right now. So it's a slower consolidation of our low-level center, but ultimately we could get it, and the GFS model does have a hurricane developing out of this. Now again, when we look at this, and we see where the storm is here as we get out about a week in time, you know, if we take a look, I've got my handy tool model here, which will allow us to look at just how far away we are from, let's say, the Anguilla area, from where that center line could possibly be. Again, rough blush, let's just call it 500 miles at this point in time from this one model run. But obviously there is a buffer at this point in time with a recurve on the GFS model before it gets into the Eastern Caribbean of about a 500-mile frame. But obviously, We don't put a ton of weight into the models at this point in time. Again, without a true low-level center, the models really do struggle. First of all, the models between the GFS and the European and the ICON and the CMC, which is the Canadian model, you'll see a lot of differences, but even model run-to-run consistency with the GFS or the European or the ICON varies significantly with these storms this week. Haven't consolidated that low-level center as of yet, but clearly, it's nice to see that we have a recurve here on the GFS model. Now over to this area, we'll kind of go 1-2 back and forth. You can see that there's just some broad spin here overall. It doesn't look extremely impressive on the actual reflectivity, but more moisture will be coming back in out of the Straits of Florida and through the northern Bahamas to potentially allow something down the road to develop in this area. If I show you guys the winds, same model, GFS deterministic. We'll just stay with this one first, run it through. Should take just 1 second. That's going to give me a nice quick second, take a sip of water. And you can clearly see these are surface winds, by the way, off of the GFS model, that some kind of a weak spin up is potentially likely to, a possibility to occur. Let me put it that way. If it's going to happen, it might actually happen in the next couple of days. Again, the Hurricane Center is not highlighting it as of yet, but you can see that spin. Now you notice what happens. Initially, it gets pulled back inland towards the Delmarva Peninsula, which is Delaware and Maryland and Virginia, and then gets pulled back off the East Coast where it picks up a trough, and then look at that huge push of wind. So it would become extratropical very quickly as well. But just to highlight that area, there's no area from the Hurricane Center as of yet, but it is something that I've seen in the last, let's say, 24 to 36 hours to keep an eye on. All right, back over to our main area here, and we'll loop this up from here. And again, I've taken off the development area, so it's just easier for you guys to see. Takes a while, but again, Wednesday, Thursday-ish time frame, you do get a nice tight rotation, and then you ultimately get a hurricane here on the GFS model, which again, about 500 miles to the north and east of the Leeward Islands as we get into next Saturday and next Sunday. So we'll see how it plays out. Obviously down the road, this recurve, Bermuda always comes into play. And if there's any swing farther off to the west, obviously I'll keep you guys attuned to that as well. So that's what the GFS model is showing. This is the European ensemble members, okay? It's about the same time frame. It's very close to where the GFS is. It's slightly farther south and west, but not much. Notice that none of the European ensemble members have this with a direct impact into the Leeward Islands by next Saturday afternoon. All right. Everything is north and east. That's what we want to see. We want to see that recurve before the Eastern Caribbean. Still trying to ping on a weak center of circulation in the Northwest Caribbean down the road. Not much off the United States East Coast with the European ensemble members. This is the European AI version of the model, and we'll bring that up. And again, a little bit slower loop for you guys, but late Tuesday, early Wednesday, first signs of development, but really getting going late Wednesday and into Thursday. Again, northern latitude track relative to the islands, taking it north and east of the islands, growing stronger, likely a hurricane as we get towards next weekend. But again, everything is north and east. You'll see a couple of weak areas otherwise. Again, Northwest Caribbean down the road. That might be an area on the European model to watch out for. It has a very weak area off the United States East Coast, but nothing that really would show signs of a lot of oomph. And again, the GFS says if anything's going to develop off the North Carolina coastline, it's actually going to happen in the next 48 to 72 hours. European model doesn't agree with that. But we do have what would be Gabrielle here in the European AI model, but again, north and east of the islands. ICON model. Strong storm developing with the ICON model. Again, another global model to show you guys. Here we go. Little bit earlier development, little bit earlier close center of circulation. I like the GFS and the European model for a slower consolidation of that with the drier air and shear that we're dealing with. But ultimately, again, you get a fairly strong storm on the ICON model, but again, north and east of the islands. That's what we like to see. The ICON model does pick up on that load developing off the North Carolina coastline. This could be one that swings out, develops into a depression or a weak storm, and then gets pushed right back into the United States East Coast, where the biggest thing is that it's a big time rainmaker, kicking up surf and sea conditions as well, and we could have some coastal problems. But again, it's going to happen in the next couple of days. I'll be monitoring the situation very closely, but this one ends up being the stronger one. But it's great to see that all of our global models at this point in time have this storm north and east of the islands. So even if we do get Gabrielle right now, we're looking pretty good as far as potential impacts to our area if it stays north and east. All right, let's get into what's going to be happening for you guys locally here over the next couple of days. So let me bring that up for you guys real quick. Might take just a quick second. And again, any specific questions you guys have, obviously as well, I'd love to hear from you guys. Always letting me know what's been happening in your area really means a lot to me. Send me those pictures and videos as well. So I mentioned this the last several videos. Western sides of our area just stay wet. They just stay stormy. If you live throughout Central America and the Yucatan, you should expect a high chance for showers and storms, some impactful rain, some potential flooding rains, right, and some gusty conditions from Panama all the way up to Cancun and Cozumel, with heavier passing showers likely across Jamaica, my friends at Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town, Lucy, Montego Bay, Negril, the Cayman Islands, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, Grand Cayman, passing showers in this area. The tropical moisture is abundant. Nice lift in the atmosphere with that mid-level low. So we're just getting, copious amounts of rain, and it's pretty darn widespread. Cuba will stay with high rainfall chances as well. Across the Bahamas, we're drying out a little bit. Ultimately, this boundary does fizzle out some. So we've been concentrated in the Northwest Bahamas lately. We should fall back into a 30 to a 40% chance for rain there, and then stay with some local heavier downpours, especially towards Turks and Caicos. But again, down the road, towards the end of the week, rain chances in this area will probably improve once again. I'm still expecting there to be good shower chances and some potential flooding rains over the Dominican Republic and Haiti over the next couple of days as well, so please keep that in mind. Over Puerto Rico, and you can clearly see there's an abundant amount of tropical moisture that will continue to stream into this area well ahead of that disturbance. Again, likely to become Invest. I believe it's going to be 92L, which will be the next one on the board, but the bottom line is that ahead of that, it's September. Tropical moisture continues to stream in, and so from the Virgin Islands towards Puerto Rico and most of the Lesser Antilles in general, get prepared for some very wet weather the next couple of days. Something I'll be monitoring, but some flooding conditions are possible, elevating the surf and sea conditions for you guys as well. Let's take a look at the rainfall on the GFS. I'm going to show you the European model as well, but again, we can kind of pinpoint this. Let me drop off again, that development area, so it's just easier for you guys to see. First of all, you can clearly see where the GFS is taking some of the heaviest rain in association with that, but we've still got solid rain moving in ahead of that, and we take a look at this and just kind of query these numbers. So again, I can actually pinpoint query these numbers. You've got, in the next 3 or 4 days, potentially up to, 3+ inches of rain in a couple of spots here. Virgin Islands, eastern sides of Puerto Rico, Fajardo, Vieques, Culebra, St. Croix, and St. John, Anegada, 2.5 inches there. Just solid totals possible here. Barbuda, Antigua, Guadalupe. Does it fall over the mainland just offshore? Close. Believe it or not, it'll be a little bit drier southern side. So even though we have some heavier rain in Trinidad today, not as much expected over those areas. Still not expecting a lot over the ABC Islands. There's your local heavy flooding rains, again, for portions of the Dominican Republic. Still some solid showers over the Northwest Bahamas, Cuba as well. And then look how wet it is across most of the western half of the area. Again, right along the Caribbean coasts here of some of the areas. Look at that, 10 inches of rain. I hope we don't get that, right? Maybe that's a bullseye that's just offshore, but 75 to 150 millimeters of rain, 3 to 6 inches, that's not out of the question. So wave heights, again, obviously we're going to kick up some seas as this begins to develop. Down the road, northern sides of the Leeward Islands, and the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, and Hispaniola, towards Bermuda, and potentially some long period swells back over to the open exposed waters of the Atlantic, east of the Bahamas, and Turks and Caicos will all be in question. Be monitoring that for you. Things look pretty good overall in the Caribbean, despite the fact that we have a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity. We'll push some wind in, especially towards the ABC Islands, but nothing outrageous at this point in time. We don't even have the large wave and strong wind advisory for the southern coastline and the offshore waters of Jamaica, so that's great news. Now again, looking at the European model rainfall totals, they're quite prolific in many spots, my friends. You're looking at some areas here, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, all of that deep maroon, which again, ultimately what ends up happening is we pull some of this over Cuba and back into the Bahamas, right along this boundary with that mid-level spin. And that's why it's so wet here Jamaica is likely in store for some heavier rainfall as well. And again, it's really just the windward islands now where we might not have several inches of rain for the week ahead. The European model, again, north and east of the islands, with that bullseye of over a foot of rain with what is likely to become Gabrielle. Friends, you can follow us across social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. As always, you want to send me a picture or video. The easiest way to do that is mymeteomundo@gmail.com. Sorry, I can step off the screen here. We've got a little bit of an issue with taking me off camera, which is why I'm doing all the stepping, but you get the idea. mymeteomundo@gmail.com. As always, please remember, Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida. They indeed are your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. Hey, they offer free consultation and policy reviews. Got any damage of any kind, go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. You have a question about the forecast, drop it in the old comment section below while you're down there. Thanks for taking a quick second and liking and subscribing. I appreciate all my friends who do that as well. Again, we'll be monitoring our disturbance in the Atlantic. Showers and storms very prolific across portions of our area the next couple of days. I've got the latest forecast for you guys coming up tomorrow. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'll see you on Monday right here at Meteo Mundo.